Hello, everyone. It is Thursday. I think it's finally Thursday. How's it going? It is CCM Live. My name is Marcus. It is lovely to see you. It is almost the end of a week. I'm Marcus. Say hi. Say where you're from. Thanks to everybody already typing their stuff, what they're doing, how they're feeling. I'm watching all of it. Look, see, Mark's like, what's the word? And I get to put your comments up right like that. So I'm watching comments. I'm watching your questions for Natasha Owens. She'll be here in just a second, and this is interactive. So one of the big important things about this is for you to hit share. Look, share now. So if you can hit that share button, go find some people in that list that you think would enjoy this and bring them to the party. You can also just tag them in the comments. And the more comments you write, the more entertaining this is for all of us. Hi, Mark. Hello, Eric. What'd you say? I see the brick wall is making an appearance again. Dude, the brick wall always makes an appearance. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know if the brick wall is always here to stay, but I'm glad you noticed. And so listen, we're not here to just look at the brick wall here. We've got Natasha Owens here with us. It is so exciting. Hi, Natasha. How's it going?
Hey there, how are you?
Wait, there we go. That's better. Good. It is so good to see you. Sorry about just throwing you in the mix here so fast, but you're okay. So awesome. It is so good to see you. Of course, Natasha Owens, for those of you who don't know, inspirational album of the year, reigning winner in the We Love Christian Music Awards, extraordinaire in the indie scene, and inspirational and doing all sorts of awesome stuff on the road and in your ears when you get to listen. It's so good to see you. Oh, thanks. So sweet. I started a new thing this week, and that is everybody has a different backdrop at their house or wherever they're calling in from. What I want to do to get to know you more, and we've been doing this with Joe and with Johnny Diaz yesterday, is pick something that we could see or that's nearby that tells us a little something about you. And actually, I think I have a request. I need you to tell me about that picture behind you. And was this your choice? Was this your husband's choice? What you tell us the story about the picture behind.
My choice. Anybody that knows us knows that we love English Bulldogs, and we have 3 of them. And so awesome. I'm in my media room in my house. This is the only place to get a solid Wi-Fi access. So that's the reason why I'm always up here doing these things. But behind me is the picture, and it's got English Bulldogs playing poker. So I had to have it when I saw a cute little English Bulldog in it.
Oh man. Well, that's now is the normal dogs playing poker one? It's not English Bulldogs, is it?
No, it's normal dogs, but the white one right there and towards the front is an English Bulldog, and that's what stole my heart. I didn't even see the other dogs. I just saw that one.
Brilliant. Awesome. So it is we're wrapping up summer. It's been festival season. There's a lot of people going every which way. Tell us about your summer so far.
Goodness, it's been a blur. I cannot believe my kids started back to school this week, and I missed it. I was in Nashville all week, so I didn't even get to get those first day off to school pictures. I've got a senior and a sophomore, so I think they're probably over the first day pictures, but Mama still wanted to get them. Let's see, what have we done? I had surgery back in the spring, so recuperating from that. Summer was the first time back on the road. We did some festivals. We did some New England tours, and between that and finishing my new album, that has kept me busy.
Yeah. That's super exciting stuff, and we'll talk about that album in a minute here. So you are a road warrior. It seems like you're always on tour. I mean, has that been the case, or is that just the perception that comes across via social media and all this stuff?
No, it seems like I'm always on tour. If anybody knows me and my music and my mission, I'm out to help people who are struggling, who are going through stuff that is faith shaking. And we're all going through stuff that's faith shaking. And so I feel like there's an urgency. I feel very complacent whenever I am very anxious whenever I'm at home, because I feel like I need to be getting back out there and to people who need me. So we're road warriors for sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you are definitely one of the hardest working artists out there for sure. Sorry to those of you who aren't catching the full motion. Natasha, you're kind of like a flip book, like it's really slow, but we can hear you just fine.
Yeah,
so it's good. So I don't know if they can.
So my mouth doesn't go with my actions, I guess. That's probably like those old timey Japanese movies that they used to do, the karate ones.
Yeah, that's.
You want me to try on my phone? Would that make it better?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I can keep them entertained while you pop back in. It's totally fine. We'll keep this going.
Okay.
All right, she'll be right back. So of course we want to see Natasha in all her glory and full movement. Katie, hey, there she goes. She's back already. Man, that took no time at all.
Wow. Well, I'm still on my computer. I haven't done the phone thing yet. So I'm trying to figure it out.
No problem. Okay, bye. That was funny. Katie, you said she is the absolute sweetest. Yes, she is. And she played River Rock. Oh, and open for Cloverton the next 2 days. I've seen her a few times this year already. Man, Natasha, you've got fans that have seen you a few times. You're on the road so much. They've seen you on the road. Yay, this is way better, by the way.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I move a lot, so I'm sure I was driving up nuts.
No, it's great. It's great. And I feel like I can see in full color the picture now behind you. So this is good. It's really good. Yeah.
You got to see the bulldog.
Absolutely. See, my mom tunes in to this show every day, and her question for everyone is, do you have a dog? So I'm really glad you answered that straight away. I'm sure she's very, very happy about that.
Yeah, we're pretty obsessed.
Well, so Fox News Channel, you were on there during We Will Rise. Weekend Express on HLN, you were on there. You've had some pretty awesome experiences. What have been some of the highlights of the last couple years with We Will Rise and all that?
Oh my goodness, that album, the very first album that we did just kind of launched me out there. But this last album just seemed like it just caught one wave after the next. It had a good message to it. It still has a good message to it. All the things that you just mentioned, the Fox, the Weekend Express, being able to help Hurricane Harvey victims. Yes. Well, that became disaster relief because we had 3 hurricanes in a row and then all the fires in California.
Right.
So we were able to raise money for that. But I think the highlight of my entire year has been winning that inspirational album of the year.
Yes. Got to be there. It was awesome. That was a blast. Well, and that's, I think it's so cool because you are independent. You have never signed to a label ever?
Never signed.
Never signed to a label. And there are so many, artists out there that are wondering, even in this day and age, is it possible to make an impact and, to have nationwide, maybe global impact as an independent? And I love that you answer that question. How do you do what you do as an independent? Like, what are some of the the things that you do or that you've learned that have made you been able to do what you do?
Well, it's definitely harder as an independent. It's harder to it's just harder to get out there. You have to source out everything, whereas a record label would do that for you. I'm lucky. Yeah. Luckily, me and my husband, we own our own businesses, and God has blessed those businesses the past 4 years. And so it's enabled us to be able to do what we do for his funding, because it takes a lot of funding to get out there. But ultimately, I think, if God has called you to do this, then his hands and his breath are in it, and he just propels you, and he's opened doors that we could never open on our own. So it's not impossible as an independent. It's a little harder, but God makes up the shortfalls sometimes.
Yeah, that's great. And do you ever get to pour into other independents and sort of share what you've learned?
We're always crossing paths with someone who is just beginning out, that just needs a little bit of advice or just needs a hug and encouragement that tells them to keep going. We're always mentoring somebody.
That's great. You mentioned being on the road all the time. We Will Rise, of course, has been just such an encouraging album for so many people at various stages of what they're going through in life. What are some stories that you've heard from the road that really stick out to you?
Well, we've had some incredible things happen. When people are going through something faith shaking, they turn to alcohol, drugs, suicide, all these
Right.
things to just try to numb it. And what has been so cool is God has placed people in our paths when we sometimes least expect it, to just for us to be able to connect to Him, to pour into their lives. And we've had people who were actually, one guy was going to commit suicide one night, and his parents and family were up at our concert, and they begged him to stay, and he came in just to kind of tell him goodbye in his own way. And
Mm.
he decided to stay for the first 5 minutes, ended up staying the entire show, and he said, I feel like God has given me a second lease. I don't want to commit suicide anymore.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, in those
Man.
particular days that things like that happen, or that particular day, I was so tired and I just wanted to go home, and I was just an emotional train wreck that day. And I sat back with tears in my eyes, just kind of in awe, and said, okay, God, this is why we do what we're doing. And I'm thankful that you reminded me of that.
Mm. Man, what a story. I mean, how God can work even in those first 5 minutes, enough to just pull a little bit longer. I just love that.
He's amazing.
Uh, oh man, it's incredible. So new album is coming, and the first thing I noticed when Brian told me the title today, your publicist, is that it's Warrior. And what I love about that, and correct me if I'm wrong, is you've got a progression of your albums going where it's like moving from this tender place to this like all right, let's do this now. Like We Will Rise was like coming out of the dark pit and having that faith, and now it's like let's kick some butt. I mean, is that basically sort of your mind space with this album?
What is so wild is how awesome God works. So, the
Yeah.
first album was Making It Through a Trial. The second one
Yes.
was Rising Above That. And I didn't have clear direction like I did with the last album. And I
Yeah.
didn't quite know what I wanted to do. And so the only thing I knew to do was do a worship album, right? Let's just do a worship album. Maybe that's what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
So we met with a different producer. Ian Eskelin did this album,
Yes.
and we're sitting talking to him, and we wrote 5 songs in one day, and then we reconvened the next day and wrote 4 more songs. And I was in a little bit of a shock that it happened so quickly, because it's never happened that quickly for me. And then you start questioning, well, are these good enough? Did we rush it? Whatever, all these things that
Yeah.
ran through my head. But after that first day, I sat back with my mouth open, and I said, every single one of these songs have a clear common thread and direction. This is an overcoming and strength album,
Yeah.
period. And when you look at Making It Through, Rising Above, Overcoming, and Strength, this is the other side of where you find your joy back. And
Mm.
these songs, I'm so excited because they're different than what I've ever done. They're definitely hooky. They're easier courses, which I usually throw tons of lyric in there. I simplified it this time. And 6 of the 10 songs you just want to move with, and it just makes you feel happy. So we're
Yes.
we're so excited about this album.
Man, that's awesome. And Ian Eskelin is a powerhouse. I mean, not just him and his production team, but as obviously as a songwriter. You wrote songs together for this, I imagine.
Yes.
What did you pick up from him just in the songwriting process?
Oh my word, he is just as hard of a worker as I am. I'm very CEO minded, and normally you don't find someone that just is, hopefully I don't offend anybody in the music world. It's usually more artistic, it's very laid back, and I don't fit into that because I'm very high strung and sometimes ADD, but very organized and CEO. And Ian, to be so artistic the way he is a machine. He just jumped
Yeah.
in and said, you want to go to midnight, we'll go to midnight. And it just flowed. I don't know if I'm assuming that's how he normally works, or if it was just the energy in the room from me, my husband, and him. But I mean, 5 songs in a day.
He's a human Red Bull. That's
Yeah,
pretty
he is.
much the truth. All 24/7.
He's amazing, amazing.
Did you get to co-write with anyone else for this, or was it just two of you? Or
Just the two. Well, my husband was in the room, and boy, he not only helped with the writing, but he helped with the production of it too. I'm so thankful to have him
yeah.
um, helping in this ministry. And then he wrote a song on his own, and
Wow.
there was a writer in Houston that had submitted some words that we made into a song for that last one. And then I had a
What
song
do you
right
mean?
after.
Wait. What they just submitted to? Or was it someone you knew, or how did
Yeah,
that work?
it's a writer that Ian knew, and
Okay.
so he asked her because she's a cancer survivor, and she just had an album I think coming out this week. And so
Awesome.
inspiration worship, I think Linda Doan, and so she
Okay.
submitted
Yes. Yes.
some lyrics to us, and I loved the idea that was behind it, and so we just waded through them and made it my own. So yeah, we had
Awesome.
a 10th song, and she helped us with that. So I'm excited. I'm excited for y'all to hear it. I think you're gonna be pleasantly surprised that this is a different side of me.
That's great. And that's awesome that Linda is part of your album as well. I know Ian worked with their album too, so he's got like this little community
He
now.
does.
So
We're
you talked
excited.
about it. It's a different side of you. You know, it's more hooky. When people are done with it, done listening to the album, are you saying you want them to come away with sort of this, not just we will rise, but we did rise, right? I mean, what do
Exactly.
you want people? Yeah,
I
talk
want
about
them to
that.
sit back and say, my word, I feel so much better than when I turned on the music, and that I can do this, and I am an overcomer, and I do have strength, and God is with me, and just,
Yeah.
feeling like that they can accomplish anything.
I love that. Katie wants to know, and the rest of us do, right there. Does she have a CD release date yet? The new stuff at the show was really good. I need it.
Oh, Katie, yeah, we debuted Warrior. We had just gotten it. It's not even through mastering yet, but we did it at that last tour, and people really loved it. Warrior is going to be introduced to radio in the next month or so. I don't have an exact date, but I will in the next week. That's going to hit radio first. We're going to do it a little opposite. We're going to hit radio first, and then the album's going to come out in January, probably about the second week.
Hey, I mean, nowadays there's so many different ways to do this, and I think your way has worked really well with for King Country. You know, those guys have been just rolling out singles, and then everyone's waiting for the album, and yeah, it's great. Everyone's going to be so excited. So January, you said.
January.
All right, so then we got to get through the holidays without Warrior. But have you ever done a Christmas song? Have you ever recorded? I didn't seem to find anything, but
I haven't. We did a couple of Christmas tours the past few years, and that's always so much fun. I love those. I bring out a cello
yeah.
player on those, and it just brings a
Oh,
whole
that's
different
cool.
dynamic to the live show. But I haven't done a Christmas CD. I was going to do one last year, and my life, but I had to have surgery in March, and so I was suffering back before Christmas, and I just didn't have it in me to do it. But once this album is tucked underneath my belt, this third one, that's my next project. So by next Christmas, I'm planning on having a Christmas CD out.
Yes, good. It'll be incredible. Who are some artists right now that are really inspiring you, inside, outside Christian music?
Inside and outside. Well, I'm in the 80s. I'm a product of the 80s, which if you are a product of the 80s and you love some of the things that they did in their productions, you're going to like this new album.
Ooh,
Uh,
okay.
yeah, we've got some 80s undertones. It's modern contemporary with 80s, which I think is really cool.
Yes. Oh, that's
Um,
exciting.
yeah, yeah. Let's see. I love Journey.
Yeah.
Journey and I like the hair bands like Bon Jovi. So if I'm not listening to Christian music, I'm listening to that. My
Yeah.
youngest son turns on the latest, hits and pop hits and all of that. Which, by the
Yeah.
way, fun fact: my bus is being rented out right now to G-Eazy. If anybody knows who he is, he's the white rapper. And Halsey was his girlfriend. She was on it last tour, but they rent it out from me when I'm off the road, and it's worked out pretty cool.
That's really random. How?
Isn't that random?
I mean, is there like an Airbnb for tour buses or something? Like, how did this happen?
No, my bus driver used to drive for G-Eazy, and so they just reached out to him and said, "Hey, I hear you're driving for somebody that has a particular type of bus, and we want to rent it." So it's worked out perfect. So it can still stay on the road, I guess. But my son listens to G-Eazy and Halsey and things like that. But I belong to Covenant Church here in Dallas, and they produce their own music, and so I am so big into their worship CD right now. They had one that came out within the past it came out this year, and so I'm either playing that or to tell you the truth, the past few weeks it's been nothing but this new album, because I've been trying to get it through mixing. You know, you have all these little changes, and I'm such a perfectionist.
But do you still enjoy it after listening to it 500 times? You know what I mean? You're not sick of it.
No. My manager says right when you get to the point where you just want to throw up from hearing the music, it's about the time to tour with it. So that's kind of
and about time to start writing the next album. Yeah, that's right.
The moment the album's out, the new album needs to start. That's the rule of thumb.
So when does the next tour begin?
We start, it's like September the 14th.
Okay.
And it goes through November. So I'm going to be out until holidays.
And then who's on that tour with you?
The first leg is Ryan Stevenson and Austin Trent. And then the second one is JJ Weeks. So we'll be with JJ Weeks October and November. Love them.
Man. Well, tell Ryan hello. He's a fellow Boisean. You know, I mean, he moved to Nashville, you know. Yeah. You haven't moved yet, though. So well done. See, that's how you do it, people. You root. You stay. You don't get sucked in. You just go visit.
Only because my kids, you know, would freak out if I moved and took them out of their school, you know. But, you know, I got to my house and jumped into this chair seconds before this podcast, because my flight was 3 hours late from Nashville.
Man,
I'm a little done with airfare these days.
Yeah, I don't blame you. But what gets you? I mean, but obviously the album. But what gets you the most excited these days about sort of what God's doing in your life? What He's doing through your ministry and your family?
You know, as a parent, I'm always worried that being on the road so much, I'm sacrificing helping others for the sake of my family. And my kids really get what we're doing. They see it. And my oldest one told me not too long ago, he said, "Mom, I couldn't be here for something." And he said, "Don't worry, I don't need you. There's other people that need you out there." And I'm just so humbled that God is using me to help others, you know. And so when I look back on the journey, there are so many things that I see God's hand in, and that are not only rewarding to me, but they heal me in return. You know, there's been some great things happen, and God is just so good. And just to see one life change is rewarding enough. And everywhere we go, we're seeing God's touch somewhere. So I don't know if that answered your question, but between my kids and others, we're seeing that this is what we're supposed to be doing, and it's confirmation every time we turn around that we're doing the right thing. Well,
and that you're all called to it. I mean, I know, you know, your husband's writing songs with you. He's out on the road with you a lot, here and there, and so it's bigger. You've got a whole team. You've got a great band too.
I know it. I sure do. It's bigger than me, and it's definitely bigger than all of us. God's got great things of what He wants to do on this earth before He comes back, for sure.
I thought it was pretty cool when you came and played at the We Love Christian Music Awards that you had Lance as your guitar player, right?
Yeah, he sure
is. He still your guitar player?
Yeah, he is.
He was in Group 1 crew. That's how I knew him. So that's pretty sweet.
He's been around. He knows everybody.
I bet he's very excited about your Kevin Bacon. Yes, I totally agree.
Kevin Bacon.
Yes.
In fact, on the road, he gets mad sometimes because that's what people think he is, you know. And I mean, people are constantly stalking him, and it doesn't help that my husband's constantly telling people, "Hey, that guy over there's Kevin Bacon." So we send people
That is
his way.
awesome. That is perfect. Well, yeah. So I'm sure Lance is excited about the new music too. I mean,
Oh,
I mean, he gets to, your whole band gets to try some new things too. So that's awesome. Well, how can all of us? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
that's okay. This delay, yeah, they're excited, especially Lance because I got some '80s guitars in there, so he's pretty stoked about that.
Is there Keytar?
You know what? This is so funny. On the last tour, we played a joke on my keyboard player who sometimes thinks he's a little cool. Love him to death. But he, I don't know. I'm the only female on the bus, and let's just say I'm not the diva sometimes. It's all of them. But, oh, if they're listening, they know I love them.
Yeah.
Anyway, we played a joke on him and told him that he was going to have to strap on a keytar, and he thought I was serious, and he didn't want to do it. He was going to do it for me, and then we told him we're just kidding, but we may do it since it's got an '80s vibe. We got to keep that boy on his toes.
And since he's already said yes begrudgingly, that's the free pass right there. So you just got to do it. How can we be praying for you and your family just in this season?
This has been a very tough season for me. It's been a very tough year. I had a very, very hard surgery back in March. Funny note. Some people know this, some people don't. I actually had to have my top rib removed.
That's right. And you saved it, didn't you?
I did. I saved it. And it grosses people out everywhere we go. I was a pre-med major, so I think it's really cool. But anyway. So
where is it? Is it nearby?
It's in my safe, actually, because I don't want anything to happen to it. I want
to
keep it. Yeah, if my husband gets back in a minute, I can get in to get it. It's kind of small because it's my top rib, but it's really cool.
That is amazing.
He said, I want to keep her rib. And the doctor said, why do you want to keep her rib? And he said, let me just tell you a little story about, there was a dude called Adam, and I want my rib back. Yeah.
That is awesome. So it's really your husband's is what really, it's his rib.
Yeah. Yeah, it's his. No, it's not. It's not. He says he's going to make a piece of jewelry out of it, but so weird.
That's pretty awesome though. But you've recovered fine. I mean, are you still recovering or?
I'm in it's a long recovery, and I'm on nerve medicine, which is really good, but I am still suffering quite a bit, and it's just going to be about another year, and so it's just hard for me to be out on the road and do our normal schedule because it wears me out. So if you guys could pray for that has been my biggest hindrance, is the fact that I'm just running at about half capacity. But the good thing is for the first time in a long time, I can actually raise my arm and hold my microphone, and that's it's progress.
Yeah.
Progress.
Man. So it's just a sort of a fatigue that'll creep up on the road.
Yeah. I go down very quickly.
Well, let's pray for it now since we've got you here. And if you're watching now or listening or watching later, it all works the same. So let's just do that while we're here. So Lord, thank you so much for Tasha, and thank you for such a cool third act of her story of being a warrior, of overcoming, of being strong in you, and that message, that joyful message of persevering that comes from you, Lord. We just ask for the new music to in the meantime just minister to everyone working on it, including Natasha, and let it minister to them, and then in January let it just ripple out. Lord, we just ask for with this tour coming up, just for energy, Lord, like the word says, those who wait upon you renew their strength. So renew Natasha's strength. Let her be able to be surprised by how much energy she has on the road. And also, God, we just ask for more incredible encounters on the road. thank you for her family and the fact that everyone's on board and everyone's focused. And so we just pray that they would all continue to see what you're doing and be motivated by that. And we pray all of this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. I felt that.
Yes. Awesome. And yep, a lot of people here are praying along as well. And I wanted to wait, Katie, you said something else that I wanted to make sure I read. She said, there it is. The first time I saw her, I had a VIP meet and greet, and she was hiding behind the couch getting her hair done, but she made sure to come up to me after the show to say hi. It made me fall in love with her heart as well as her song. So see, keeping it real.
I remember you, Katie. Yes. I was getting my hair done in the corner. I sure was. And a little bit behind on time too, so I couldn't hug her neck, but I made sure I got a hug before the end of the night.
That's great. And of course, Katie's a huge fan of Cloverton, so she kept saying in the comments she wants you to tour with them more. So there you go.
Yeah,
there's the order.
Yeah, I think hopefully we'll do more. They're usually up in the Northeast a lot, so hopefully I'll do more of that this next year.
That's another example of some independent powerhouses that are doing incredible stuff. It's a fun community. It's a fun time to watch music and artists doing things their way. I mean, and that works for their families and their individual ministries. Well, awesome. Well, thank you for joining me, and thank you for running from the airport to your car into the chair in front of the poker dogs and chatting with us.
I was so worried I wasn't going to make it. So worried. I was so mad at American
you did
Airlines today.
Yes. Well, hopefully you get to just not think about airlines for just a little bit.
I didn't even get to come in and hug my dogs and scratch their heads yet. So
all right. Well,
we'll see them.
We will leave you to that, and we'll be in touch as we get closer to Warrior in January. Thank you so much.
So thank you for having me. Good to see you again.
God bless. Bye.
Bye.
All right, everyone. That was Natasha Owens. If you want to learn more about her, you can find her on Facebook. You can find her on Spotify. If you haven't heard We Will Rise, now's a good time to check that out while you're waiting for Warrior. So we've got a big week next week. We do this Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. on the West Coast. And we've got Planet Shakers on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, we've got John Schneider. If you guys ever watched Smallville or The Dukes of Hazzard, this is that actor who also he's releasing like a 52-song compilation where there's some Christian songs on there. There's some, kind of country-ish songs. He's all over the place. So we're going to talk to him. And then also we've got a guest that is a director of an upcoming movie. We'll talk about that next week. It's going to be a different week. It's going to be an awesome week, and I hope you're there. So make sure you hit like on CCM Magazine's page, or if you also go to CCM Magazine Live with Marcus, that page you can keep up there too. So if you want to watch these episodes, from the past, or just listen to them as a podcast, we're available on YouTube. We're available on iTunes in the podcast section there under CCM Magazine. That's all I got. And thanks for being here. We will see you